What happens if a situation arises that you were unprepared for? A situation such as a blizzard, a tornado, or being locked down due to a virus. Put yourself in any possible situation that could arise. Now ask yourself, what would you do? Where would you go? What do you need? Are you ready? Because what if tomorrow?
And we're live. Welcome to What If Tomorrow, Preparedness and News. I'm Mark. Bill will be joining us later if he can. We have Sonny Conway and William Townsend, or Big Willie as we like to call him.
Heck yeah.
And we're going to talk about the headlines first, and I think then we're going to be kind of a free-for-all. We've got plenty to talk about tonight. So before we get started, please visit us at our website, whatiftomorrowmedia.com. Visit our sponsors, EMP Shield, and I just went blank. We've got EMP Shield, we've got Duke Cannon, and My Patriot Supply, and Conflicted the Game. And if you guys have listened to us play the game on the show, it's a mind bender, okay? So with that said, let's jump into it. Lots of stuff in the headlines. As everybody knows, Phil and I have been kind of keeping an eye on the World Economic Forum, and Yuval Harari has been at it again, saying that most people are useless and don't have a place in the new economy. You can get on YouTube and check that out. He's in an interview about his TED Talk. So get on there and check that out. It's buried in the middle someplace, or I would have had the clip for you. So that's going on, and this is coming from the horse's mouth. Yuval is one of the main guys who talks to the Economic Forum and advises them. So this is where they're getting their advice from. And if you think that they're not out to get you, think again. On that note, Biden administration is making major changes to your IRAs and 401 accounts. If you've got more than $2,000 in your retirement account, you need to start taking steps to make sure it's safe, because that could be a bad deal. I personally am not an economic advisor and am really bad at economics, but I recommend canned goods and ammunition. Just saying.
Combination there.
And throw in some gold and silver. Like I said, don't take my word for it, because if you've watched me long enough, you know I'm probably an idiot. Smith & Wesson is in the news today. They blame Dems for the new crime wave, not them, which I believe they're right, but I mean, it is what it is. Oh, and Minneapolis is going to be laying off teachers, and they're forcing white teachers to be laid off first.
Dang.
That sounds ever so inclusive. So, and then there's all this nonsense with the raid on Trump's house, and everybody has their side of the story, and I don't even want to get into it. I mean, it's been obvious for a long time to anybody who's willing to look at it that the left has been weaponizing the FBI for decades. So I think history speaks for itself. They've been doing it since Hoover was in the office, J. Edgar Hoover. So I mean, it's nothing new. We realize this; it needs to go away, and if you support stuff like freedom, I recommend you go to conventionofthestates.com and sign up, sign the petition, and become a volunteer. Uh, if we get a convention of the states under Article 5 of the Constitution, um, we can tell Congress, where they can stuff it. And I plan to.
Yeah, it's one of the last really civil and also very legal ways to handle things if you're unhappy. And that's why people should be more involved
That's
with
where
the local politics.
If I remember my history right, that's where the first 10 amendments came from. Was a convention of the states. Am I wrong? Do I need to look up the history book again?
I don't know if it was like today. I mean, it kind of was. I mean, in a sense. I mean, it was the colonies at the time that came together and said, hey, taxation is theft. And
it was several years after the Constitution was written when they, 1791, when they did the 10 amendments. If I'm remembering my history right now, remember, folks, my last history class was in 1985. I have slept since then.
You have slept since then, is that what you said?
Once or twice. Once or twice. I don't know. Is there anything you guys want to talk about that's in the news? I mean, we can talk about how that pertains to protecting ourselves or, keeping our family safe and fed.
Do you have anything to add, Sonny?
I would definitely say if you want to keep your family fed, you better know how to farm. Better know how to grow food.
Yeah, that's true.
And when to grow it.
I am in the worst town ever for that.
Oh, no.
We have super high concentrations of lead in the soil from a lead smelter that was here in the 1800s. So anything you grow here is going to be laced with high quantities of lead unless you want to pay to have them come dig up your yard and lay in a foot or so of new topsoil.
Yeah.
So it's a bad deal. And plus, you can't have roosters because they're too loud and wake the neighbors. So I'd love to have a chicken coop in the back.
A guy about 100 yards from me has at least 1,000 chickens, and it's pretty loud in the morning.
I grew up with a rooster wanting a crow right outside my window. I can sleep through anything.
Yeah.
My mom still raises chickens. She's got chickens everywhere. She has this one poor rooster. It sounds like somebody has his nuggets in a bind and is twisting them. It sounds so sad. You hear him,
Oh, man. A lot of people don't know those roosters. They make good watchdogs, too.
They sure do. That's a good point,
just crow
actually.
in the morning. They'll get you at night.
Best watchdog we ever had was a freaking goose.
Oh, man, geese are even worse.
And we had a dog that liked to kill chickens, and it wanted nothing to do with the goose. That goose had her bluff in, and she ruled the yard.
Yeah.
There was no doubt about who ran the place. It was the funniest thing I ever seen. Seeing that goose chase my old man into the house. She's built about like me, and that goose was after
Very
him.
true.
Well, needless to say, the goose didn't stay much longer after that.
Oh, man. Well, I only have one thing to share in regards to the news. Excuse me. And first of all, everybody that's in the chat on YouTube and or Facebook, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We will definitely get along with your comments as we go along here. So thank you so much for Oracle sharing that out, and Chad Smith and Danny Wolf, as well as Bigfoot Anon and others that are in the chat. Papa Willie, thank you all for being here. So I have something that's a little different, not exactly preparedness, as we might get into that really soon here, obviously, as we're already kind of hitting on it. But this is local to me, and I was excited about it. I did share a photo at the bottom. Excuse me. So if you want to pull that up, you can. And essentially what's going on here is these guys are building a sandbox, and it's super exciting. I'm just kidding. So this is in western part of Michigan, not too far from where I live, obviously, and Chad Smith live. And what's gone on here is they have found some mastodon bones, which to me, I always get so freaking stoked every time new bones are found. I don't know why.
Cool.
It is. It's like exciting. So they just basically said, and it's a really short paragraph. It's not much to read on it, but just in a nutshell, mastodon bones discovered during West Michigan road project work. So one good thing those terrible orange cones that pop up during the summertime brought us was hopefully maybe some mastodon bones. And as you can see in that photo, there's quite a crew out there that's working on it. Matter of fact, I'll switch up the photo here in just a second. The size of some of these are pretty impressive, as they always are. Now, Mark, are you into archaeology at all and stuff like that being dug up, or not really?
Dude, I so wanted to be, before even Indiana Jones was a thing, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I thought it was so cool. Then I found out you couldn't make any money at it.
That's true. You don't make a lot of money.
So then I went into electronics, which I hated.
Look at this. Look how this cool stuff you get to find. So this guy right here is holding one up, which I don't know why this entertains me. He's just...
Well,
would you just look at it? Look at it right there.
it's a bone.
Oh, bone. But yeah, they found this one. I'm going to share one last photo. It's another one of just the actual picture of the bone. The big ones that they found, because some of these were I think some of the rib ones and whatnot.
That was like a rib, maybe.
And this is not the first time they have found these in Michigan either. Michigan's actually been a little bit of a hot spot when it comes to mastodons. Let me back this out a little here. All right, so as you can see from the tape measure there, that's 1 foot right there, 2 foot. So that's almost 3 foot. Look at the size of those suckers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. So in short, I'll just read the brief thing that they found about it. I thought was kind of cool. So it was in Kent County, Michigan. Several people were working to unearth mastodon bones in West Michigan field after they were discovered during a road construction project. Staff with University of Michigan's Museum of Paleontology are at the site overseeing the recovery. A construction crew was working to install a large culvert along 22-mile road, North Kent State, about 1:45 p.m. Thursday, August 11th, when an excavator operator noticed something red in the ground. And he's like, dang it, do a head count. Quickly. I'm just kidding. The operator asked other workers to check what was in the ground. It was a humongous bone, Kent County Drain Commissioner Ken Yonker. And that might be the best last name I've ever heard of. Yonker, Yonker said. He said some of the workers initially thought they could be dinosaur bones, but University of Michigan researchers determined that they were mastodon bones. So all in all, there's not a lot to talk about there necessarily. I just think it's cool that they found some more mastodon bones. And if that's your thing and you're into it, check it out. I'll drop a link to that in the chat here in just a second. But I just thought it was really cool to see some more being found, and especially if you're local to Michigan or anything like that. So, which is the great thing about this community. We get to see stuff that's going on in all the states around us in the United States and share little bits and pieces of the news as they unfold. But I do have some opinions later once we get into the free chat about some of the 401k and $2,000 stuff. So we'll come back to that. But that is what I have for the local in the news kind of deal as of right now.
Oh, that's...
They didn't say anything about what they think the size of the dog was that buried those bones.
Sure, it was a dire wolf.
One guy did say, he was quoted saying, you go out, he said it was exciting. He goes, you go out there to put a pipe in the ground and you find this. To find a mastodon, that just blew us away, he said. Seems pretty straightforward. It seems like it definitely would would blow you away. But yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys got a house full tonight. Look at everybody in the chat. Guys, if you haven't smashed that like button, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, there's a ton of people in the chat. Welcome everybody. I hope you enjoy the show. Like I said, it's kind of a free for all tonight. I'm not a good one for following the rules. I'm really, really bad. You can ask my mom. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff in the news. I just don't. Sometimes I want to say I don't know where the world's going, but I keep getting these suspicions that it's going someplace I'm not going to like. Nice, nice.
Do you think it's always been like that, though? Was there ever a point in our history where previous generations were like, man, I just feel really great about where the world's going? I've just always in the back of my head have wondered about that. You know what I mean? Outside of like when war ended, maybe.
I think you're on to something. I am a student of history, and what I've noticed about history is human beings in general suck.
Just a little bit.
I mean, most people just want to be left alone. I guess you'd say it's our leadership that sucks and our ability to choose them. Well, most of our history, we have not had the ability to choose them.
That's a good point.
It's only been in the last few centuries where people have had a choice, and it seems to me like they naturally want to turn to despots and oligarchs and monarchs and whatnot. They want people to make their choices for them, and that's just not me. I mean, I want to be left alone. I want to be free. If I want to go out and shoot a deer and
legally shoot the deer.
cook the carcass up, the North American whitetail is the deadliest animal in North America. I believe the last figure I saw, which admittedly was a number of years ago, because to me the other day was 10 years. I think it kills somewhere around 126 people every year in car deer accidents.
Yeah, they don't get that chance from 600 yards away.
No, they sure don't. But they did a number on my daughter's car. When my car broke down a few months ago, I borrowed my daughter's car for a couple days. Day 2 of driving it, I nailed 2 deer. One of them lifted up in the air and was flying beside me for a good 20, 30 yards.
Oh my
gosh. I looked out
gosh.
the side window and it was just there, flipping.
How fast were you going?
I was only going 65. I came around the corner and there was 20 deer standing in the freaking highway.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
All right, squirrel moment here. I just got to bring this up. This will be interesting, given that we're all in different locations, right? You guys are you guys considered the Midwest, Mark, or would just kind of west? You're Midwest, right?
We're dead center of the country on the 38th parallel.
That's what I said. You're like center.
I can see the 38th parallel from my house.
Okay. Well, you're
stuff happens.
You're centered. Sonny's obviously is about pretty west for us, and then I'm kind of in the north here. I remember, let's just say 20 years ago, give or take, seeing herds of deer. When it comes to just that idea, like general nature, I remember seeing herds of deer out and about. You'd see during the end of the summer going into fall time, and I'm saying herds. I'm talking between 60 to 100, right, give or take. I can't tell you the last time for almost the past decade where I've seen a herd of deer over 30. I don't know if it's just me or where you guys live too.
Depends on where you are out here. If you go out by Toronto Lake, which is, I can tell you where it's at. You wouldn't know any of the landmarks. It's near here. When I was still driving the medical equipment truck, I regularly saw herds of deer of 50 to 100.
Wow.
And they were not scared of my truck. At one road, I literally came close enough to them that one day I rolled down the window and slapped one on the butt.
You slapped it on the butt?
It did not want to move out of the way, so I drove around it and I just reached out and smacked it. It took off like a rocket, and so did the rest of it.
Oh my God. Oh, that's crazy.
They're hard to find here. They're not as easy to we don't have that many.
I was on a twisty dirt road between 2 fields, and there they were. I just couldn't resist.
Well, one of the things I was kind of bringing, the reason I was even bringing that up is that another thing I've noticed, and this might seem weird, but I just got to ask you guys, and this idea of like being prepared, trying to see things that are coming, and you guys have always done a great job in these episodes of freaking me out when I'm finished, right? Which is what are some things that are coming that maybe we aren't prepared for? How do you be prepared? How we can kind of see other things coming, whatever with the economy and whatnot, but how do we prepare for something that we just do not see coming? So what would be some basic things we could think of that way? And you guys have done a great job on whether it was the backpack, a bug out bag, and things of that nature to try and be ready. But another weird thing I've been noticing lately is in relation to like the deer thing is insects. Just hear me out for a second. I just want to know if this is happening to anybody else in the chat or is it you two gentlemen as well. Do you guys remember, again, going at least 10 years back, but I'd say 20, when you would go down the highway or take any kind of a road trip, you had to scrub your vehicle every time you stopped somewhere because of the amount of bugs you'd hit on the highway or just driving in general? I feel like that number has vastly reduced. Like I don't, and maybe I'll say it could be just where I live. I just feel like I don't hit as many bugs as I used to. And I'm just wondering if it's just me. And granted, where I actually live is a little more of a city, but even when I go on the rural drives, I just don't hit as many bugs anymore. And have you guys noticed that?
I assure you, at 5 a.m., I am hitting more than enough bugs for anybody.
You're hitting all the bugs.
I am hitting all the bugs. And the grasshoppers this year are freaking huge. So,
same for you, Sonny, or no?
Here, there's a lot more bugs, it seems like. But it's the time of the year, though. There's so many bugs out here when you're driving with your lights on at night. It's like it's raining.
Yeah, I believe it. I work for a aircraft company, and I went out the other day, and I don't know how many grasshoppers I killed. I was picking them out of everything. Just out of everything. It took an hour to get the grasshoppers out of the engine. It was bad.
Papa Willie says I should ask a guy on a motorcycle about bugs. That's a good point. That is a good point.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, the June bugs here, when you get hit by one, just go on the speed limit. You're going 65. You get hit by a June bug, it feels like you got shot by a gun.
I believe it.
Yeah, it leaves bruises. If you just get hit, if you have just a shirt on.
So Pinzer says she kind of feels what I'm saying. So she feels like she's seen a few less bugs. I'm even saying like gardening, and even those that have gardened and stuff. Like if you have a garden, it used to be, I felt like it was like a very big task to have to stay on top of that. And I don't know, maybe it's just me being strange, but I feel like something has happened with the general nature population specifically, and I know it only makes sense, but within any city limits. Like you used to still get insects and whatnot in the city limits, and I just feel like within cities anymore, that's vastly been reduced. Heck, even birds. I know this sounds ridiculous, guys, but like, do you remember when birds would wake you up? Because, Sonny, you live in a very rural place, and so do you, Mark. I'm sure you guys wake up to them at about 4:30, maybe a little bit earlier in the morning, they start going off. They just are ready to get up and go. Man, I'm telling you, and I'm not making this up, 10, 15 birds around here, maybe?
Yeah.
It just seems astronomically low.
I really haven't noticed it now. I've noticed a uptick in mosquitoes and the creatures that eat them. Bats.
Wait, bats. I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, wait, who is their number one predator?
Bats, purple martins, stuff like that. They're thriving around here because mosquitoes have just been stupid. It's been dry for a couple weeks, so we've had a little bit of relief, but the rain's in the forecast again, and they will be attacking.
At certain times of one part of the day here, it's coming up here pretty soon, about 6:30, 7. The gnats start dropping down like in these clouds, and I think dragonflies eat them because there's hundreds of dragonflies that come in my yard, and just you can see them swooping through those clouds of little gnats.
Talk about something that hurts if you hit it at speed.
A dragonfly, yeah, they're big.
I got hit in the eyeglasses with one once with my window down. It sucked right in and was like, ah! They're no fun.
Yeah, those are big.
So,
I've almost wrecked. I've got bees in my vest before. Like out here, they set bee boxes out by the almonds or whatever, nectarine trees, whatever they're wanting to pollinate. They'll put these bee boxes out there. And the farmer usually owns both sides of the road. So the bee boxes are on both sides. The bees go back and forth.
Oh,
and I've
no.
rode that before, hundreds of them, and got them in my vest.
Oh,
man. I almost wrecked a bike trying to get stopped because you're just getting lit up in your vest and your arms.
My wife says she has noticed more dragonflies this year than she has in the past. Well, I've noticed more gnats too, so that there may be a link right there. Yay!
Maybe they're
What's up,
migrating.
gentlemen?
Oh my gosh.
Man is
up,
here.
bud?
What's shaking?
What's up, fellas?
Who's this
I,
guy? Who let this guy in here? Huh? What's going on?
You know, I got keys to the back door.
Yeah, he's got the back door key. He can do whatever he wants.
I'd have been here sooner, but I had to. My neighbor, I was finishing up chores, and my neighbor pulled my drive and said, "Hey, I got a dog stuck in my pond. It's about a mile down the road." He said, "Are you missing one?" I was like, "Well, I don't think so." And my outside dogs usually hide in the cellar because it's hotter than crap outside. And sure enough, I was missing one, so I rode down there. That sucker, we got him out, but he was wore out, and being
man.
an older man, and
You get stuck in the mud.
yeah, he got stuck. My neighbor got him out, but he's an old Vietnam vet, so we got to shooting the breeze and all that. So anyway, don't let me interrupt. So you guys carry on. I'll jump.
Oh,
in.
we're not talking about much. We're talking about bugs and insects. And
Kind of a free for all tonight.
That's cool.
Hit some of the headlines and talked about how Mr. Yuval Harari is at it again with saying most people are useless, and
Yep.
okay, but hear me out. Does he have? I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I mean, I walk around work some days and
Oh man, that's a dark, slippery path. It's weird because you can no healthy way, usually without things going too far, have that conversation about it's a dangerous topic to say what is a useful human being, because we're like, all right, what's the tape measure? What's the rule
right.
that we're measuring this against, right? What are we measuring that against? If you're taking like what they do in Asia, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you have a social credit, correct? Most of China.
Yeah, China is.
I don't know. To each their own. I'm not saying the USA is perfect, because it certainly has some issues, but man, when we start judging what's a good person, or like what is a useful person, and then what is your expiration date?
Right.
Like, is it the minute you've retired, you're just like done? Because you're not contributing?
I've heard that argument from certain members of our own government. So,
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it's,
I read a book several years ago. It's called Agenda 21. And if we're going down this road, that's kind of what we're fighting now. Agenda 21 got pushed off, turned it into the Agenda 2030, or the Great Reset, and that's basically what the situation was. They had people basically in a prison, and once you hit a certain age, they went and offed you, recycled you, whatever they did. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's yeah, I remember when everybody was talking about, and that's why we need to talk about the World Economic Forum and what they're trying to do, because it is Agenda 21 or 2021, and the reason why 2021 failed is because everybody heard about it. So basically, what we just need to do is talk about it, make people aware of what they're trying to do, and they'll push it off again. It's never going to go away. They're going to keep trying to do it because they want the power, because there's a certain part of humanity that wants all the power. They don't want free people. They want people to do what they say, so the world will be the way they want it. They can't face a reality of a world of free people because it's too chaotic for them. They want to control everything. So, exactly, you will own nothing and be happy. You'll be happy, or else they'll put you in the ground.
Yep,
Because a lot of these people believe in Chairman Mao, and power comes from the barrel of a gun.
Yep.
I even heard Hillary Clinton. Was it Hillary Clinton that said that? Quoted it?
Yes, I believe so.
I'll have to look up, but one of our political talking heads said it a few years ago. If that's what they think, that is a bad thing. That is a very bad thing. and that's why I've named my little 12 gauge over here the Commie Blaster. I'm having it engraved.
Sonny, what's your piece's name?
Mine, it just says America on the butt. It says shake and bake on the back of the slide.
Merca.
Oh yeah.
America and shake and bake. Yep.
There you go. There you go.
So, Sonny, what are the gun laws and crap like that out in California? I know they're pretty strict, aren't they?
Yeah. Like we can't buy a Gen 4 or above Glock, anything
Really?
like that. You gotta be a police officer. There's a lot of guns. Like you'll go into a gun dealer and look at the guns, and you'll think, okay, I want that one and that one and that one. You pick out all these cool guns, and you can't have any of those because you gotta be a police officer. You gotta have 10 rounds in your magazine, unless you're on your property, because they did sell extended magazines for like a week to California a couple years ago. So yeah, as long as you got them on your property.
Jeanette. I forgot she lives down there, up there. She's in the upper part, I think.
It would piss me off too. I'm glad Kansas is a constitutional carry now.
They call us the Gunflower State for a reason.
You also have to take a test. Let me see if I got it. You got to take a test to get a license to buy the gun. Not a CCW or anything. It's just one of these guys right here. I can block out my info. I don't know if I can. Well, I'll show you the back of it anyway. That's where it came from. It's just a card. It's got your name and stuff on it. Yeah, that's good for like 5 years. You got to take that test every 5 years. I think the test is like $30 or something like that now. You got to pass that test before you can buy a handgun.
Wow.
Or a rifle, I think. I don't know. I've had it so long. I don't.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for training. I'm all for range time, especially with somebody that's experienced. Hello, Oracles. How are you doing?
Oracles
I'm all
India.
for that.
What's up, Cassie?
And there's never going to be a but. Not a negative one anyway.
No,
But,
if you have guns, you should be shooting them. You're right.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't know good if you don't know how.
No. I've been on the range. Except my older boys, I raised around guns. From when they were little bitty guys, they were handling them. They were learning how to handle them safe. And by the time my oldest son was 10, we'd go to the range pretty close to where Mark and I work at. They've got like a public range. You can go shoot rifles or pistols or whatever. And I would trust my 10-year-old son more than I would a lot of the jackasses that were out there.
I believe you.
Yeah, that's true.
I believe you.
So I'm definitely all for the whole training thing. I mean, should that prevent you from getting a gun? I don't think so.
No. But I think that training ought to be a lot easier to acquire.
Yeah. Yep.
Not mandatory, but easier.
Pincer was saying you gal should see what she has to do just to get a driver's license.
I
Where
believe
do you live?
Well, here in Kansas, I don't want to go into it because it kind of makes me tear up every now and again.
I don't know. I kind of like it now that you have to make an appointment. I don't have to deal with the crackhead sitting next to me while I'm waiting.
This is true.
I was looking
Actually-
at driver's tests like that for back in Italy. When you took a driver's test, guys, they had a car in there that was basically cut in half. Down the motor and down the transmission, you could see in there. You didn't just have to go take this written test on how to drive. You had to go point out parts on the car and tell them exactly what they did before you could have a driver's license.
That's
Wow.
a good thing.
That's actually not a bad idea. We should put
Can
that
you
in
imagine
Chris's
doing
head.
that now with all the
Oh,
new
God,
stuff? You would be so
Yeah.
lost. I would be.
Yep. At least make them change a tire or
Yeah, something.
general stuff.
Check the oil.
'Cause- yeah. Yeah, that's not
Wait,
a bad
so
thing,
that-
'cause- Go ahead, Willie. Sorry.
Or I was just gonna say, tying that back to like preparedness and stuff. Is that something you think you should actually practice, like learning how to hotwire the new vehicles because they are so freaking? It's not like I mean, it's almost impossible at times, right? Or is there will? There's a will. There's a way.
I mean, Sonny, you're the car guy.
Oh, it's easy. It's easy to hotwire a car.
even the new
even
ones.
Yeah, it's all the same. Well, with that, it's the same because you just run. Oh man, I don't know if we can say that on here, but yeah, you just power up the ignition and
Change some words. Just change some words, and we'll call it other things.
power up the ignition and use a screwdriver to jump the coil, and it's still not the coil, but the starter, and it will still start.
That is the Kansas DMV.
Yeah,
It is pretty messed up.
yeah, it is.
Kansas, you guys can have whatever guns you want back there.
Absolutely, we can.
As long as it's not full auto.
Yep.
Oh, really? I thought you guys could have that.
No,
No,
we gotta go.
that's a federal thing.
We got to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
They really are wild in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Well, that's where
Which for
Sonny's
Mark-
from originally, right?
My family, yeah. Not, I'm from here, from California.
Oh,
but
that's
my
right, that's
family,
right.
I personally want a 75 millimeter cannon, but
Yeah, that'd be great.
wouldn't it?
I have a 50 millimeter muzzle loader.
Jeez.
50 millimeter, sorry, 50
Or 50
caliber
cal.
muzzle
Yep.
loader, and oh my goodness, guys, you can put like for my 45 black powder revolver, I put 40 grains, 35 grains of black powder, and the muzzle loader you can do like 200 grains, and then pack 2 of those balls down there.
Oh crap!
It will dislocate your shoulder. Yeah, that's the closest thing I've came to actually holding a cannon and shooting it. Is
Wow.
Yeah.
So, in California, are the muzzle loaders regulated just like the regular firearms are?
no, and that is pretty stupid. I went in and bought a 40, so it's a 454 revolver. I bought the black powder, the gun, the bullets, the caps, everything to shoot this gun was all in this little basket that I'm holding with my hand, right? I set it up on the counter in the back where they sell the guns, and the guy says, no, you can just pay for that stuff up front. I was like, okay. So I took it up front. The whole time I was thinking, well, this is stupid. I
Yep.
could just load this gun and rob the store if I was a bad guy. You know, why would you give someone a gun and bullets and let them? And so I didn't get that. Then when I got up there, I paid cash. They didn't ask for an ID. They didn't ask who I was.
Yeah.
They don't ask anything. It was like buying a BB gun.
Yeah.
Federal
I
law
know-
does not recognize a muzzleloader as a firearm. It is considered an antique, whether it's new
Well,
or
I know,
not.
but if you're chunking a half-inch chunk of freaking lead at somebody,
They're going to know it.
I mean, you're good.
I have a 45. I have the 1873 45 and that 1858 revolver. So one's black powder, one's bullets. The black powder one shoots harder than the shell. So to me, it's
yeah.
more dangerous.
Yeah, because you could probably load them really hot.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah, I can
wanted
put like 45 grains in there.
to. Right.
But it makes so much smoke, you can't really see to shoot it the second time in front of you.
Believe it.
Well,
yeah,
you
my
know,
wife's got to throw her 2 cents.
That's with
in.
a
She's smoking
smokeless
home.
powder. It still makes that much smoke.
Really?
Yeah.
nice. Nice.
It's fun though. Those are the funnest ones. And for survival, I think that's what you need. You get so many shots. It's so cheap to buy ammo and black powder for those guns. And I shoot those probably more than I shoot the rest of my guns.
They make a kit to make your own caps using aluminum cans.
Oh, I've never seen
I
that.
just come out and get the chemical. Yeah. There's
What-
a kit to make your own caps.
What do they put in there? What is that little green stuff? I just thought it was some
I think the kit comes with fulminate of mercury. I'm not sure
So it's
what
like
they use
plastic
exactly.
explosive.
But yeah, you can buy the chemicals, and you can even buy the stuff to reload your rimfires.
Speaking of like survival, I actually wanted to run this by you guys here because you guys are like our resident survival experts of our group that we all hang out with.
I
And
wouldn't call myself an expert in
well,
anything.
yeah, you do a lot more than I do. I'll say that. But have you guys heard of? Because I would we all agree that outside of water, and I honestly would put this right there with water personally as fire, like in any kind of survival situation. Would you think those are both like just equally important, having fire and water?
Yes.
Yeah, with a caveat. I think it would be depending on your climate as well.
Okay, that's a good point, I guess. Well, the reason I was bringing it up is I've been hearing a lot about this, and I know this is probably for any prepper out there, anybody who's been preparing for a while, probably like, oh my gosh, he's just not hearing about this. But that's true. It's true. But speaking of that, have you guys heard of the Swedish? Some people call it the Swedish campfire, the Swedish fire log, or the Swedish lantern. Have you heard of this? Have you guys personally ever tested this out or tried to? Have you seen kind of, or maybe for those that are listening don't know what that is exactly, or if you're watching live, I'll put up a photo of what this looks like, sort of. So this is what, maybe even for Sonny if he hasn't seen. So Sonny, this is kind of like, I guess, what it looks like getting started. You just essentially take a nice dry piece of wood or whatever you got, and you split it into. Looks like they only split that one in like maybe 3 times. Looks like, actually. Now I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll tie a cord or whatever they might have, usually metal, some sort of wire around
They cut
it.
it with a chainsaw, Willie.
They cut it with a chainsaw.
Yeah, they did.
You sure they didn't use floss?
They didn't split it like that. It's not split. It's just cut with a chainsaw.
Well, the one I seen, that guy he didn't split it all the way through. And if you're watching, like you can see where my mouse is at. Hopefully you guys can see that. They only go, I don't know what, looks like they're going about 3/4 of the way through that sucker, though.
Yep.
But yeah, it seems to, and I just was wondering if you guys had either of you had actually tested this out to see if indeed it actually lasts for as long as some people are saying. Because one guy was saying that they can go as long as like 8 hours. I find that a little hard to believe, because I mean, he was cooking at it kind of like this style, this one's set up.
Yeah, that's what's nice is you can cook on it. It's like a stove.
Yeah, I mean, Dutch oven looks like it fits perfect on there too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess depending on the size that you got. Now, the one that he was actually doing wasn't this big. This is more like, you're cooking a nice style. He actually made like a little handheld one, and he'd ran some wiring and stuff. So he had like a little handle off to the side, and this thing literally was like a little lantern. He was just carrying around. I don't know. It looks simple enough, I guess, but they make everything look simple. When you watch something on YouTube and they're like, you're just going to do this, this, and this. You're like, I got this. So it'll be no problem. But even when they burn down, it looks like this is the final product of one being kind of burnt down, in case anybody's curious. You can kind of see where some of the wiring's at to help hold it. It does not look like it burnt that far at all, does it?
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
And he was adding, as it would go, he would add other little kindling inside, so you weren't really burning up, he said, the outer part of your
log.
Yep. Correct. You were just burning with the kindling that you would add along the way. And this is a little more like the size one I was talking about, because it wasn't big enough to put a pot on or anything. It was just what he was cooking with. But I just thought it'd be a cool little tool if it actually lasts like that. I was just wondering, maybe you guys can make that a video. You can kind of like test out different types of wood and see which one lasts longer.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of cedar and some oak, so I'm sure.
Do it this fall, because it's too hot right now.
Oh God, yeah.
If we got in a survival situation in California, we wouldn't even be able to use those if we had to follow the rules. You can't even have a fire in the mountains. You can't get a burn permit to have a fire in the mountains. Like, it's not. Yeah. Yep. You can't use those where I hunt at the moment, anyway. If it was snowing or raining, maybe they would let us.
We understand that the fire saved your life, but now we have to fine you.
Right.
Those guys, if they would just clean up the forest, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's so much that
like, we're glad you're alive, so you could pay all these fines. That's what they would be doing.
Exactly. They tax you when you're born. They tax you when you die, and they tax you every breath in between.
Don't get me started on the taxes.
I read a thing the other day. I read a thing the other day. They said if it's like if an apocalyptic event happened, the IRS would wait 1 month before starting to collect taxes again.
1 month.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's see if I can find the article.
Let's give the peasants 4 weeks, shall we?
You know, they just hired
Give them a chance to
87,000.
land on their feet. I was just watching a video the other day. I can't remember who it was. I should have this pulled up. It was just, you know how like you get sucked in, you're swiping on Facebook, you end up on their short reels where it's just 30 seconds or whatever. And I don't know who the corporation was, but if it was a local state and it was their taxes the city was paying into it, and they did not want to disclose how the money was being allocated. He said they could go on their public records and look it up, but when you went on there, it showed for the state. It wasn't showing like how this corporation who was collecting or was supposed to be allocating it was actually putting it out. Now, I get like the federal might need to protect some things, even though I have opinions about that, but on a state, local level where you're living in your city, you should be able to see how your tax dollars are being, in my opinion, if I'm going to pay into it, are being allocated. And they have a lot of pushback on that. They're like, oh, well, we can't be, that's... And that just kind of pisses me off. I'm not a big fan of taxes. I am okay with the idea if we all actually truly pooled our money together to make real change, you know, and make things happen. I'm okay with that. I have too many problems with all the hands in the pot. or in this case, sometimes only a couple hands ran by a couple corporations.
Yep.
There is no way you can go to Washington and make $40,000 a year over the minimum amount to be considered middle class and come out 4 years later as a millionaire.
No.
Yeah, it's almost set up to honestly have them fail, though.
Stealing from the American people.
It's like $35,000 a year just to live in this house.
Yeah.
It costs like $140,000 a year to live in Washington D.C. and they make like $170,000. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. They almost have set them up for you put anybody in a desperate situation, anybody who's got to provide for their family or take care of them, we're all going to do what we need to do, right? Probably. So when you, from the get, have put somebody in a position, and I'll say this as a caveat, being that we are not supposed to be long lifetime senators and Congress members, okay? Right. You serve your time and go home, okay? But I will say, if you're going to do a good job and you're going to stay there and serve a decade, you're set up for failure a little bit. That'd be like me inviting you on a vacation or trip, say, hey, Mark, hey, Phil, you're doing a great job with your show. Why don't you come? I want you to come hang out for a year with Sonny and I. We got a studio over here. We want to have you guys come work with us. And you show up and you find out, oh, yeah, you got to pay and provide your living here. You've got to be in all these places. You've got to figure out how to get from point A to point B. And your income is going to be $20,000 or $30,000 less easily than what the cost of just basic living is. Guess what? Now, when someone comes along and says, hey, can you just kind of get this through, and here's 60, and we won't talk about it. I don't question how it happens. I'm not ignorant. It's wrong, but I know why it's happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's so frustrating.
I mean, if how much all that money going to Ukraine is going to Ukraine, you're wrong. It's going into the pockets of the people in Congress.
Right. I heard a figure the other day of, of all the billions that we've sent over there of taxpayer dollars, they can only account for 30% of that.
Could you imagine if you did any job, if you guys worked on a plane, you're like, well, we got to account for 30% of the work that was done.
Right.
I don't know about the rest. Here's 30% of the bolts. Good luck. Get up there in the sky.
Right.
God's sake. Oh, so frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
It
It
works
is frustrating.
anywhere else. But it works for politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, folks, go to conventionofthestates.com and find the petition, sign up to be a volunteer. I have.
Yeah, I forgot.
And if we can get this going, we can take America back legally, safely, and morally in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because I think I've seen a figure like 80 to 85% of the population want term limits on congressmen.
Yeah, except Congress.
Right, but you call your, like, I know I did here, emailed and called my state senators, because they're the ones that have to put it through, or my state congressmen. And they said, yeah, we're all for it. But then you got these other guys from, like, especially Kansas, your most populous areas are around Wichita and up around Kansas City.
It's a fun word to say. Wichita. Sorry.
These are good.
I grew up dragging Douglas every weekend, man.
Oh man. Sorry, you continue. You're making a really good point here, and I
You know, you got these guys that don't want to lose their power, shooting it down. You know, so obviously they're not doing the people's work.
Right.
You know, so I don't know. It is frustrating. That's why I say both sides are just as crooked as the other. I mean, we need to clean house and start over.
Well,
Just
one
wipe them all
side's
out.
slightly less crooked, but that's just because they want to keep their image clean.
Right.
They're all crooked. You can't.
At least when they get to the federal, at least when they get to DC, it seems. You know, you can have some really good local Congress members, it seems, and different things, and state
They're
representatives,
still
and
running their own business and whatnot. They're still part of the community. You know,
Yep.
you get to your local and state guys. When you get up to the feds, it's a way of life. They don't want to give up their free meals at the fanciest restaurants and
yeah.
plane rides from the military or their newest kickback partner or whatever.
Chris is absolutely right. Just if they're good when they go in, they're crooked after a little while in. Yeah, they lose their soul.
I mean, I'm
They
sure
lose their
it's
soul.
soul sucking. I mean,
Oh, gotta
I
be.
don't even want to visit, let alone. I always used to tease that I ought to get elected to Congress just so I could get a free ride for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You only have to work 4 years. In my neck of the woods, $170,000 a year is pretty damn good living.
This is damn good living, yeah.
Yeah.
That's double the median income.
Yeah, it
More.
is.
Well, okay. Let's hit on that a little bit though. Let's drive into that vein a little further. What is the reasoning behind? You know, if we look at, like you just said there, how that's pretty good money, and it is in most every average Joe's life or Jane's life, however you want to say it. What is the focus there then? What does that tell us? Because if we're going to be honest, really honest, $100,000 when 20 years, I keep using this 20-year marker, but 20 years ago, in early 2000, if you were making six figure, just a low end, barely into the six figure number, you were making a good income.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you, a six-figure income right now is not necessarily. I don't know if you're living high on the hog. You're probably comfortable, but I really don't think it's not what it used to be at all. Which
Not
drives
in
this.
metro areas anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, having two people working now, that would be good. But I'm saying just one. So if your total household income, say for a family of four, is $100,000, I still think if you budget right, you'd be all right. But it's certainly not what it was before. $100,000 a year was you were just throwing money at people. You were walking out like six figures.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here thinking when I hit $40,000, I had it made.
Yeah.
I mean, the cost of living in this area is not very high though. So
Do you think it's to make people so busy just trying to survive we don't think about what's really going on in regards to some stuff? We just said all the stuff with taxes, and is it just people we know this, but we're just too tired? It's like, well, what are we supposed to do? I'm just trying to pay my bills over here. You know what I mean? Do you think that's kind of the concept they're going for?
Here's
They
my
being a
thoughts on
loser.
Here's my thoughts on it. And anybody that's listened for a while knows how my mind works. For those of you that haven't, I am very conspiracy minded. And my thoughts are, let's see, if we have to make it so unaffordable to live off of one income, to where the mother and the father have to go to work every day, that means we as the government have control of their children for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. So we can indoctrinate or whatever and make them believe what we want them to believe. I mean, look what's happening right now. It's a perfect example.
oh yeah,
You know, you do what you want in your bedroom, but I don't think little kids need to hear about it.
no, they
Either
don't need
way,
to
I don't care if it's
those.
straight, whatever. I'm not hitting anybody. But little kids don't need to hear about that.
No, they need to just enjoy being little kids.
Right. Right.
Well, we're at a point where we're having a conversation these days where they're trying to decide what even a little kid is. And
Yeah,
That's
right.
that's messed up.
You know, my wife,
I
right
think.
there.
I was fortunate to work in a school district that was fairly conservative. We had a few of your typical left wing nut jobs trying to indoctrinate the kids. But like I said, I was fortunate to work in a school district where that was not the norm. But still, even the textbooks and stuff, that's the way they all leaned. You can't buy a textbook that has a neutral standpoint anymore.
Do you think we could ever? Okay, what about this? So, and I'm not saying we're wrong in any of the positions you guys certainly have expressed before in regards to, left or right and where we're at right now. But what if those didn't exist? Like, what if there was no left, there was no right, right? Since a lot of people seem to get polarized to one position or the other, or more than anything, more than I should say polarized, you get lumped into one position or the other just based on having an opinion. Could be your very own organic, unique opinion, but suddenly you're lumped into one. I call them the Crips and the Bloods, right? They're both blue and red as it is, so you get thrown into a gang one way or the other. Why do those exist in the first place? And why are there only two options?
Divide us.
See, I always try to remind people that when they get upset and they hear different terms and get offended, I say, listen, all this stuff in some sense, it doesn't matter. Those guys, I mean, it really, really does matter in one hand, but on another hand, it's like they don't care about us, really.
No.
Like you said, it's the money. And in some part, what's interesting with that Agenda 30 a little bit, or 21, as it was for a while there, at some point, and Sonny, you and I have talked about this before, they still need people. They're still going to need, until that they can fully get the automation system going, you're going to need a certain amount of people. So I don't think maybe I'm just naive in saying this, but I don't think they'd ever do a complete, if someone was evil enough and diabolical enough to just wipe people out, they couldn't do a full wipe, because those people are not capable of sustaining themselves.
Right.
I just don't see how they've done it. Even if they planned out, they're like, oh, we've got 100 years worth of stock. Cool. What are you going to do at the end of those 100 years when those generations are done? Have they learned how to grow? Have they learned how to do things? Can they fix anything? Do they even lift, bro? I don't know what their plans in life are, but I just still think they would need us just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It sounds like I don't got to worry. They're going to come and get me.
Let you know.
Oh, me too, Sonny. Me too.
the problem, as Winston Churchill once said, with socialism, is that it's great until you run out of other people's money or labor.
That's why. That's kind of why.
Mark, it's never really been tried in the right, just situation.
Yeah. That's why we've been talking a lot about this
It's
whole
just like I've never really
CSQR.
tried to diet. Spoons make me fat.
Oh man.
But that's why I've tried to cover a lot of this whole Great Reset, CSQR stuff like that, because they are talking about what's the term? A living income or something like that. But
a basic living income?
A basic living income, yeah. To where they, as the powers that be, quote unquote, the elites, what are you going to call them, give you 1,000, whatever this whole new digital currency is supposed to turn or come to be. But it's supposed to be like 1,000, whatever, say just dollars for easy term, But it's supposed to be $1,000 a month for everybody in your bank account. It's all digital. They can control when, where, what you purchase your money you're with. I mean, if you, like, especially here, if you want to go buy ammo, they'll turn that off. If you want to go buy a burger and they think you've hit your quota of burgers for the month, no, they'll turn it off. They won't let you have it.
I don't have a quota for burgers for the month.
Right, neither, but
You will in the future. You will. In the future.
yeah, if this
You want
happens,
Bug burger.
That's
Yeah,
how
I
I
mean,
keep my
they're
girls bigger.
I mean, yeah, they're talking. I mean, they've got celebrities out there pushing this whole freaking eat bugs and this and that. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, or
No.
what have you.
God damn.
But
I haven't seen that. I know that they're more protein.
Yeah,
know
they're
that
such
much
a
about
great
them.
source of protein. But with what they're all over Canada, the United States, and all that. They have farms where they're raising these bugs at. They're getting ready for this shit.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Chris, good point. We were talking about this earlier, Philip. I said, I don't know if it was just me, but I was like, man, bugs have disappeared lately. That's where they've gone.
People been eating them.
Rallying them up.
They're at your local fast food place.
But yeah, they're seriously tall. I'll see if I can find something here.
It's crazy. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, I mean,
And they say it on their own websites. It's not like they're trying to keep it secret. The news just isn't covering it.
Well, the stuff that for generations, God, the things that, and people have done montages on this. If you go on and watch like what was said in the bottom of the news versus what's being reported, and it'll write sometimes the real like stuff that's you're like, why aren't you covering this? And then you'll see whatever their talking point is at the time, and you're like, this is ridiculous. That's why, I mean, it might be terrible, guys, but I only check in on the news like maybe once a week, mainstream wise anymore, like once a week. I just see if there's anything major going on, and then I'm back out. Because it's just, you turn it on for, you've got your week's worth of news in about the 20 minutes. You know what I mean? It just, because they just beat a dead horse in the ground, and it's just all talking opinion points and pieces. It's not news anymore. It really doesn't feel like it, you know? It's just, I don't know.
The only news I watch still is SNL's Weekend Update. That's it.
All right, I'm gonna.
The only place that tells the truth.
Yeah,
Newsmax
share
isn't
this.
too bad.
I'm just going to share this headline. Okay. I mean, a lot of people may not believe what Mark and I are saying about the World Economic Forum, but this is from the World Economic Forum website. Okay.
Oh, snap.
If it'll load, can you guys see it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, because I can't. It's over here loading on me. But I'm just going to look at the headline: 5 reasons why eating insects could reduce climate change.
And do they have
what
a
they're
bee right
pushing on.
there? Oh, it's an ant. I thought it was a bee. I was like,
ant.
guys, we're trying to save the bees. Stop trying to eat them.
Yeah.
Well, the honey ants really don't taste that bad.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Davos agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I ate them when I was in grade school. I'm not going to lie.
So,
I'm not
I'm not going to go into it.
I did it.
I mean, I'm not going to go and get in a deep dive with it, but this is World Economic Forum.org, weforum.org. It's all this bullcrap they're pushing.
Yeah, get on there and cruise around a while. You will. They're trying to dress it up. It's like dressing up a pig for the prom.
Yep.
You
I think I went with her.
Put it in a. You can put it in a dress and put lipstick on it, but it still ain't pretty.
Oh my god. Oh,
Sorry. Some of my grandfather's euphemisms still leak out.
oh man. Nicole
Yes,
says,
Melissa
"Bring on the
Nicole.
tsunamis."
Wipe it all out. Let's start
Wipe
over.
it out. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I
Washington is close enough to the coast. You know,
My wife.
well, what's weird about this though is like I don't personally think like, and I'm sure other people thought about this, and I know I get it. There are some massive slaughterhouses. Okay, I totally get that. But I still don't get how we keep up with the meat consumption. I mean, have you just ever sat around and thought, just in your local city, wherever you live, I'm not in a massive city. I think there's 75,000 people or something like that where I live, give or take, something like that. But the amount of wing shops that are here, like what are the most amount of wings you can get off of a chicken? I think like 4?
Yeah.
2.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, but I think they cut the wing. I think they cut it in like 2 spots or whatever. But you're right. Technically speaking, yes. 2 wings.
What kind of mutated chickens you all got down there in Michigan?
But I just,
nuclear plant down there.
in my head, the most amount of wings in quotation marks here with an asterisk is 4 off of per chicken. The average person is going to eat between, I'd say, 8 and 12 wings in a sitting, give or take. And let's just say 10 for a nice easy number. How many people are eating wings tonight in your city? Right? Or let's say 12 to make it more even. That 12 wings is 3 birds. So every time you eat 12 wings, that was 3 chickens. How? Just how on God's green earth are we keeping up with that number?
Well, see,
There is no way that is all real meat out there. I swear.
the beauty of the chicken wing thing, though. they used to be considered waste, and they would clean it off and try to make nuggets out of it, and they wasted so much. And then some brilliant guy says, "Why don't we just throw some sauce on it and feed it to people, and they'll think it's a delicacy?"
They're damn good.
And voila, the waste is now a premium product.
Favorite part.
Oh man.
It's marketing. That is all it is.
Willie, did you think the tail feathers were like a rear rudder, and that was another wing in the back? You think they have more?
You ever seen those little rear rudder? It's just a little nubbies on the other side. You cut those up. You can serve those like filet mignon. You just put little pieces of bacon around those little nubs.
Yeah, Papa Willie. He said Big Willie, you've never raised chickens. They breed fast, and they do. They do absolutely.
They do, and we'd always buy 60 every spring. And usually 20 or more didn't make it, so you'd bump off your 30 or 40, whatever, come fall time, right? And we got these ones from my uncle at this one point, who happened to work for a company who has big golden arches, and they had these new chickens. Now, keep in mind, this was in the late 90s that they were starting this process, and he got us these chicken eggs, and he said, "Listen, these chickens, you need to kill and eat at the 6-week mark, or they are going to die." And that'll be it. They're just going to die on you. And we thought, there ain't no way. Because they were just little chicks, right? So we had there were like 20 or 30 when we got these little chicks with our other chickies, right? And these little chickens, at like a 4-week mark, were full-grown chicken. And at 6 weeks, he was not joking. The day of 6 weeks, 2 of them died. Their hearts explode. They just basically died because of the steroids they pumped in these things. And eating the chicken breast off that was like eating a small turkey breast. They were absolutely massive. But that was the one and only year, and that was it. After that, we didn't buy them anymore because, dude, they were ridiculous. The steroids they had in those things were just.
Oh yeah, and that's true. I would like to see less steroids in meat production. I would like to see more family farms putting out beef and chicken for consumption instead of big farms. And fortunately, we live in an area where this is possible. You can contact people who will sell you half the beef.
That's true.
I mean, you have it butchered.
Talking to my neighbor about that.
Yeah, I mean,
when I turned, I think maybe around 10, we moved to the city, and my mom had a hard time getting me to eat eggs because they were white, and I was like, I ain't eating that shit. Without egg white, I ain't eating that, and I wouldn't drink milk because I was used to it coming from the cow out of the bucket, and it don't taste the same, man. It's just way better from the cow. Yeah. So you had to move the cream back to get your cup in there. Yeah, that's the stuff I drink.
That's exactly it.
We had this old farmer on the outskirts of town, and he milked. He had a couple of dairy cows and he'd milk, and he would sell the big glass jars. Like the gallon size. He would fill them up, and Mom would send me up there. Because there's just a few. I mean, the town I grew up in maybe had 100 people, and so everything's within walking distance. So Mom would send me up there with the cash, and I'd go get a gallon of milk. And in the summertime, we had peach trees, and Mom would pull fresh peaches and put the fresh cream over. God, it was so good. Peaches and cream was amazing.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Deanna's getting ready.
We started talking about food, guys. What?
It all comes back.
Do we ever laugh about just once in a while? Do we ever laugh about it? We talk about preparedness every once in a while, but then you're sitting on your couch with like your chips and salsa. You're like, I'll be prepared. I'll be ready. I just need peanut butter. I definitely want some raspberries with me. Some jam.
You know how they say to keep a go bag? Dude, I could fill one truck up with go bags. I have that many of them. Like I realized, holy shit! I don't have a go bag. I got 20 of them.
That ain't a bad thing.
That's just slowing me down.
I need to break mine up into 2 because it's too heavy to carry.
Yeah,
I got like 70 pounds worth of gear in there. It's like my wife can't carry this.
I got like 100 pounds worth of bullets.
But you also. Do you use those for hunting and stuff too, Sonny?
Yes.
So I know you go up in the mountains and hunt and all that.
And your survivor guns, I don't know if you guys show them on here. I can go get it. I have a couple. I have a couple that I use as my, like a 22 Ruger. Hold on.
Really, a single action 22 is a good pack gun.
Mm-hmm. The one I have
is only like $125.
the 10-22
Still really
Ruger.
cheap.
Yeah.
Mine's
That's a
the
good rifle.
takedown, so it breaks in half and comes apart.
Oh, sweet.
And it's that gun's nice. That and then what I use too is I use a Browning 22 pistol, but they're bull barrels, so they shoot like a rifle. And then
they're good, right?
I have a Ruger Mark 4 or 3, I think Mark 4, one of the newer ones, stainless steel things. But yeah, they're bull barrels, and those things shoot like rifles. They're long barrels, and you don't have to carry a big rifle around. You can carry, and 22s, they'll take anything. You can kill a deer with a 22. They don't let you here in California. You have to use something bigger than a 22 caliber. Like you can use a 243. You can use a 223, but you can't use a 22 mag or anything like that.
I know Kansas, their law, they changed it, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, to where you can use anything that is has a centerfire cartridge.
Oh, okay.
You know, rimfire you can't, like a 22
Yeah.
or 17 or whatever. Even though, I've seen it done. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how, but I've seen it done.
Yeah. At nighttime with a flash.
My favorite was hearing about the guide in Alaska who just paddled out next to a moose, wrapped a rope around its horns, and shot it in the air with a 22. He was an Indian, so he was allowed to do that.
Well, yeah, I thought that's how they hunt them, though, because they said that they target the lungs, right? And then when you hit them with the 22, it's not much bigger than like a mosquito bite, so they don't really react too much, and then they'll just kind of sit down and go to sleep.
I'll shoot them in the head.
Well, these guys, the ones that I see, I could have swore that's what they would do. It was either in one part of the neck around the jugular or the lung, but they would shoot. I could have swore it was the lung, because they said they'll jump maybe a little bit, if that, and then they'll just kind of slow. You know, again, I don't know how you can't really make it pretty, but they as comfortably, I guess you could say, go to sleep.
As
I
quick
can
and
honestly
painless as
say,
possible.
Yeah.
knock on wood, I've made them all as clean as I could, like all the shots.
Yeah.
I've only had to take one shot at everything I've killed. I've never had to shoot
That's
it twice,
awesome.
and they die instantly. They don't take 4 or 5 steps. I use a 7 mag though, a big bullet.
That's why.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that, dude.
Hole coming on the other side of this.
Oh, it's more like this.
I know.
I destroyed a deer with 303 British once.
Oh man.
I know several years ago, my wife and I was introducing her to deer hunting, and I took a shot. I was, the doe. It was a doe, and she was kind of standing almost quartered to me at an angle. So I tried to do a lung shot up through the chest, and I caught her wrong or something, and she ran for a while. We tracked her, and wound up losing her. I don't know if she got up under a bush or a stand of cedars or something. And man, we're looking. I called my brother up because they were out deer hunting too, or him and his now son-in-law. So they come out to help me track. We could not find this doe, but we got over by a pond, and I thought I jumped her. And I pulled up and shot. It was a damn coyote, and I use a 30-06. I mean, 30-06 is pretty heavy duty for a deer too, but it works.
Yeah.
And I rolled that damn coyote over because I realized it's the same coyote I stuck in the leg with an arrow. Shot him right in the damn kneecap. It was the funniest damn thing I ever saw. That bastard went to spinning and biting and freaking kicking ass. He didn't know what got him. And he took off. Lost my damn arrow, which pissed me off more than losing the coyote. But
That's $40.
yeah, I know it. And this is when gold tips first came out, so I was like, God damn, this is expensive. And I walked up to him and said, yeah, there's that bastard, because you could see where I hit him in the knee, and he chewed the fur away. And man, I rolled him over in that hole for that 30-06 left. It just the gust just fell out of him. I'm like, damn. But
Yep.
Yeah. I've that deer I told you I hit with a 303. I hit him in the chest like you were trying to do. It went all the way through his body cavity, out the inside of his thigh, back into his thigh bone, broke the leg, and left an exit wound like that. There was no suffering. I mean, it just fell over.
That's another survival thing, guys. Is I use tips that look like this. It's a spring tip that goes on the end of my arrows for birds. He knows what I'm talking
Yep, the
about.
judo chop.
I've seen 'em.
I call them judo tips.
Yeah, we shoot the grouse where
Yeah.
we're at here, dude. Those grouse are exactly like chicken. Everything's white on them. All the meat is white when you cook it. They're better than chicken, and it only takes like 3 of them, and you're
Really?
full. Yeah, they're good size. They're like banny hens.
Really
Nice.
Yeah, those things for your arrows, guys. You don't ever run out of, as long as you don't shoot coyotes and lose your arrows. You don't run out of black powder and run out of shots if you got a bow.
We
What
call
was
them
an
prairie
Yeah.
chickens out here is a kind of grouse.
Yep.
And they're really good. Yes.
Papa Willie's is better than chicken.
Oh, grouse. It really is, Willie, and they're so stupid, dude. If the sun's going down and they're roosted, you could walk up to the tree and just grab them and take them out. They're back, they don't even fly away. They're dumb. They're dumb.
That
They
sounds
let
like
them
my
shoot
quail.
at you, even if they
They aren't very smart either, but
when you're shooting at them, they don't even fly away. They just look around like, "What the fuck was that? The bullets hit the other tree."
are you drunk? Why'd you fall out of the
And they
tree?
taste so good, dude. It's like God put them there for us. That's why they're so dumb. It tastes so
man.
good.
Well, God made
Yeah, my
grouse
quail.
and God made garlic, so
Yes, he did. It's salt and pepper.
We were, my wife and I were out feeding the other night, and one of the quails jumped out. And these bastards don't really even flap when they jump out. My pen that I've got them in, oh, they're probably 4.5. It's 5 foot tall, so they're probably about 4.5 foot off the ground, or 4 foot off the ground. And these bastards don't flap when they jump. They just jump and smack the ground. And this bastard ran off, and my wife was trying to catch it because I was feeding rabbits or something. So I got out to try to help her, and this thing jumped and tried to fly and smack my wife's car. And then finally snuck up under the car for a second. We finally caught it, but geez, they are dumb birds.
I told
I
you
remember-
that time I got my limit without firing a shot, didn't I?
Yep.
I scared them up into the side of the garage. They killed themselves. There was one that would still maybe have made it. The rest of them just killed themselves. They took off, flew right into the side of the garage, and died.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeanette asked, have y'all boys ever tried bison or venison? She said, I want to try it out, but not sure. Oh, both of them.
It's good.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's really lean. It doesn't have as much
Yep.
fat as cattle.
Yep,
It's a
bison
different
is
flavor though.
amazing.
Don't be surprised when you try. I mean, you gotta. I mean, I will say
Right.
it's a different texture and flavor.
Okay,
It's
if
good,
you want to
but-
eat it, and you're guaranteed to like it, Jeanette, try it in jerky.
Yes.
That's a good way. to try
Absolutely.
it.
Bison jerky or venison.
And then after
jerky.
that, though, I gotta say it's a slow roast. Just a roast with carrots, potatoes, and onion, and a lot of garlic. I think that's the key to me. I think.
One of my favorite things is what they call a beefalo around here, where you cross a bison with a regular cow.
Oh, yeah.
And those have got
They
to
are
be the best meat I've ever eaten. It's got enough marbling in it to give it flavor, but it's still really super lean and tasty. Oh, man. You're
How
going to
do
make
they
me
cross
hungry.
that up with the cow?
I like elk, I think, better than the other two. Elk's
good, too.
Good. Yep.
Oh man, elk is really good. It's sweet.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
sweeter than deer.
Oh yeah, that's what 509 said. He threw elk in there too,
Phil,
but
have
he
you ever
said
tried-
lamb too.
Melissa
Have you
Nicole.
ever ate anything raw out of the deer, like the liver? You ever
No,
tried
I
that yet?
Uh-uh.
No. I'll tell you why. Because the liver filters out
little
all of the
spots.
heavy metals out of the environment.
Liver spots.
So it's like eating the oil filter out of
I know.
your car.
I know, man. And my buddy's a butcher, and he cut this liver out of a deer that I shot one year. He cleaned it. He actually cleaned it for me. I didn't have to touch it. And he takes the liver out, and it's snowing, so it's steaming. And he goes, "Here, take a bite of this." And I go, "Dude, I ain't eating that shit."
You want lead poisoning? Because that's how you get lead poisoning.
He takes a bite of it, and he goes, "Oh, dude, it's good." And then I seen him swallow it, and I was like, "Give me the damn thing." And I took a bite of it. Oh my god, man! It's like eating
Really?
a warm stick of butter. You don't want to quit eating
Really?
it. We tried to save it so we could take it back and cook it, because it is good when you cook it fresh. I'll only eat it fresh when it's cooked. But yeah, we ate almost half of that damn thing raw.
You ate the liver?
Yeah, and we didn't get sick. It was.
Does it
very,
still
very
taste like
good.
liver?
No,
That way
no,
too?
It tastes like sweet butter. It tastes like
Because
liver.
I'm not a big fan of
Uh-huh.
liver. Like, I've had it a couple times. It's not my favorite thing in the world to eat, so I don't know. That's why I've always been nervous.
I won't eat it. I won't eat it unless I took it out of the deer and then cut it up and fry it with onions right then, because that's the only time it tastes good to me. If you put it in a freezer and then or let it set for a few days, it's just not good.
Melissa Nicole, she asked what a bison is. Bison's a buffalo. I mean, most people call them buffalo, but they're actually American bison. It's the American
Tatonka.
buffalo. Tatonka, yep.
What they are is delicious.
They sure are. That's why there's none left.
Let's see. Then Jeanette is
And then
saying
For nasty things to eat, what do you guys think for nasty? What's the thing you got, like, you'll eat if you have to, Phil? Like, for me, it's
Brussels
bear.
sprouts.
Brussels sprouts are good.
Me, it
I
is
meant
bear.
taking,
I don't-
like, for taking game is bear. Like, that's the one thing I don't like.
Oh my God! Have you? Oh, that is nasty.
Bear,
I
I've
had
never
bear
tried
jerky
bear.
one time.
I had
and
one
never
good
wanted-
bear, one bad bear. One tastes like fish, really bad, rotten fish, and the other one did not.
That's why I don't like to eat. A guy killed one in our camp with a bow 2 years ago, and he cleaned it. I mean, this thing was clean. It looked like it came from the butcher, and all the guts are out, feet are gone, hair's gone. It's just a big hunk of meat sitting on his tailgate. And I go, "Hey, can I see that?" And he's, "Yeah, go ahead, man, touch it, do whatever you want." So I'm feeling on it. I was feeling the cuts, and I was like, "Well, it's like, this will be good, you know." And then you smell it, and it smells like fucking swamp water. Like, you're not eating nothing raw off of that thing.
Mhm.
And
It
it's
smells like the
greasy.
stinkiest swamp water you've ever smelled. Every piece of meat on that bear smells like that. There's
Yeah,
not
it's greasy. It's
beans.
nasty.
Yeah, I don't know. For around here, I don't know. I mean, there's not much I won't eat around here. I mean, maybe possum. I've never tried it. I've heard it was good if it's cooked
No.
right. But hell, everything's good if it's cooked right. I've tried raccoon. Barbecue raccoon is actually pretty
Did
good.
have raccoon when I was younger.
Squirrel's not bad, but it's not worth the trouble.
No,
That's true,
I won't eat
especially if you
squirrel.
shoot it with a
I
bird
guess,
shot.
I guess I would say squirrel because
Squirrel's not super good.
It's like
I
a
am
fuzzy
not-
tailed rat.
I mean,
Rats
the
are better.
last time I tried squirrel, we got into a bunch that have been eating hedge apples. I don't know what you guys call them out. I don't know. You guys even have hedge out there?
Osage orange.
Osage orange. They've been eating them, and
Okay.
that got in their meat, and it just ruined them. And since then, I'm just like, nope, I don't want nothing to do with freaking squirrels.
Yeah.
But if I had to, yes, I would.
Oh, try drinking milk from a cow that's been eating them.
Oh yeah, you get a cow that's ate dillweed, and it tastes like pickle milk. It ain't good.
What was it?
Gatorade wants to call you up and get the deal done.
Fine.
They're like, let's do that. Let's bottle that right now. Pickle milk. Let's go.
They get
Feed
into
somebody
a
milk
bind.
cow an onion and see how pissed off they get, because it's just like an onion. It's whatever they eat.
Boy, Jeanette's just naming all the
Have y'all
Yo,
ever
there's a
tried
lot of
rabbit?
animals out there,
Yes.
Jeanette.
Yes, rabbit's one of my favorites.
My wife and I actually have rabbits. We're going to probably start breeding within the next month so we can butcher.
Little white gravy and mashed potatoes.
Yep.
You can't butcher
Mm.
a rabbit.
Potatoes make
Maybe,
everything.
maybe some
Make
asparagus on the side. That right there is a meal.
This preparedness episode brought to you by the Hunger Format.
Well, I mean,
They're good questions, though. I mean,
you can't
she's
really
asking good
see me on the
questions.
camera, but I'm immense. I am a very large man, and I did not get there by accident.
4-legged chickens are too fast to catch. I don't know if they taste that good.
Fast.
Now, I learned to kill them with a rabbit stick when I was a kid. You can take a stick about this long, about this big around. If you can sneak up on them, you can throw it and whack them in the head.
Man,
Oh,
I read about it in a book and
They-
had to try it.
they probably are some of the best animals to have in a survival situation because they breed so fast too, though.
Yeah, they replenish themselves very quickly.
Yeah,
I
again,
could be
they're-
wrong
they're-
in this,
they're-
but oh, sorry. Go ahead, Phil.
I was going to say they're actually. I know my wife is watching the stream. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're ready to butcher at 8 weeks, just like quail. See, the quail I bought last spring we hatched in June. They're now fully mature, laying eggs. So, to me, it's a great option to have even in town. or
Pickled
quail.
quail eggs are good.
I'm gonna do that because
Pickled quail eggs are the best, dude. They're better than
I
regular
can
eggs.
actually have rabbits here in town. That's one thing I can have. So maybe I should take that up as an option.
8 to
Yeah, my
12
wife-
weeks.
You go slaughtering rabbits in town, and people are gonna call the cops on you. Those things scream so loud,
Screaming.
dude, and it's horrible. It's the worst. I can't do it no more.
yeah, my wife said 8 to 12 weeks. Melissa Nicole.
I have a
equal
secret
opportunity
technique
meat
I'll
lover.
tell you about later.
Papa Willie, yeah, that's a good one too. Snake's pretty good too. Rattlesnake.
Yeah, rattlesnake.
Never
that's
had
the one I
snake.
eat.
I ate it.
Never had snake.
I ate the one that's on my hat. I ate this one.
Gator's good.
I've had alligator,
Never tried
really good.
hedgehogs.
It is
Yeah,
really
alligator
good.
is good.
I ate like
Hell yeah.
That's a
maybe
nice hat.
4 inches of that one, and that wasn't for me. Another guy though ate the whole thing. Him and his wife.
Yeah.
They ate it because it was so big. They ate it in 2 different meals, but it was big.
Shire goes, hedgehogs are the worst. It's like eating jelly shoes. I've never
I never tried that.
I'll take his word
tried
for it.
either.
Yeah, hedgehog seems like that'd be nasty. They're little tiny guys too.
I guess the big lizards are supposed to be pretty tasty.
That might be good.
Speaking of that, you guys just triggered a core memory for me. This has 0 things to do about preparedness, so I apologize if you've made it this far, hoping there'd be a point of preparedness to this. Did you guys see the latest hypothesis out there about the T-Rex right now?
Yes, I think.
Did you see that one about the wings?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! So for anybody who doesn't know, we've always joked about T-Rexes, right? There's been memes of them trying to wave. They can't reach into corners. They can't take phone calls, right? It's funny. They have tiny little arms. And this one guy was like, "It's always been so weird to me." So he's like, "I went to the museum and I was looking at it." He's like, "It started to really remind me of something." And he went and pulled up pictures of ostriches, and their wings are almost, the skeletal structure is almost identical. I mean, identical, guys, which would indicate that those were wings on T-Rexes. And he was like, "They were dragons." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what if those were dragons?"
What if they were just really, really big ostriches?
That's still terrifying. That's still terrifying.
How about the terror birds from South America? Have you seen the
Yeah.
pictures of those?
I have not.
Yep.
We should pull this up.
7 foot tall and a head and beak as big as a horse.
Yeah.
Horse's head.
Holy shit!
What? Let's pull a picture
Yeah.
up of this.
Yeah.
They're called
You pulling it up,
the
Will?
African terror bird.
Terror.
Yeah, I'll go look it up. Yeah.
Terror birds from South America. They found the fossil evidence.
Oh, so it's not something in today that exists.
No.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
They make
was
dinosaurs.
so
They kind of make dinosaurs look wimpy.
No, if those existed, me and Phil would know what they tasted like.
Hell yeah.
I would want to know. Yes.
Yeah,
Inquiring minds want to know. Hell, I'd eat a T-Rex if you shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeanette Sanchez, it's a conspiracy theory going around. T-Rex and dragons equal chicken with them feet and wings. Hell yeah. You're in the right place for conspiracy theories.
Give or
I can believe that.
take.
Just think about the meat you could grow on a dinosaur. If we could
Oh,
bring those
geez,
back
yeah.
and just raise them as food animals,
Oh man.
I would do the woolly mammoth. I bet you that mother trucker tastes pretty.
I mean,
Oh, I bet it would
the
too.
woolly mammoth was so delicious we hunted it to extinction.
I mean, the Flintstones had it going on.
That's right. A big old rib.
I don't even know what this is, but it's amazing to look at. All right, I'm gonna pull this one image here of this thing because it's so ridiculous. Oh my gosh! All I can see in my head is think of the words like "bang bang." Let me let me show you why I'm thinking this little because it's just ridiculous. Oh, right.
Shire Ghost. My mate was called T-Rex because his arm's not long enough to get his wallet from his pocket to buy it.
Oh, you
Does he
look
have
at
a shirt with a T-Rex on it that says he has a license to bear small arms?
this is a ridiculous looking little bird. But doesn't he look like he's going bang bang with his slings? Okay, so that's just one. I got some other ones here. Hang on. This is a better image of what this thing looked like because it is pretty big. I don't know if it's more scary than a dinosaur because those velociraptors were they were pretty scary.
I don't know. I think you go one-on-one with him.
Yeah.
All right, so here's another image. Obviously, not real.
Well,
See, I
compare
see
the
that.
size with a saber-toothed tiger. It's immense.
Yeah, no, it really is. Matter of fact, which again, I mean, we're not seeing any teeth, but a bill like that,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
that
size of
sucker-
a horse's head.
Yeah, eagle don't have teeth either. They do pretty good with meat.
You're
they
right.
do.
The meat.
Let me show you this one. Here's another one. So just as a general, like what they think roughly size-wise for a human being, this is an image that they have for that. Just as a general comparison. So it had been pretty big. I mean, that could just about eat a human. I've seen some birds swallow things that don't make sense. Like they
That would
swallow it
take
and you're
your
like,
head right off.
yeah. I mean, I honestly think in the right condition, it could possibly it could get you in there.
Look
And
at
usually-
those spurs.
Oh, yeah, on the backside
Jeez.
there.
It will gut you and eat you, and
Right.
you will still be alive.
Yeah, no. I'm just not scared of birds. I don't care how big they are.
Yep.
Well,
I carry
I
Alka-Seltzer
would
in my
return the
back pocket.
favor.
Even ones this big, Sonny? Look at that face. Look at
I'll
that
throw
face
him-
right there.
Throw that bird
Aw.
a box of Alka-Seltzer and take him right out. Really, you don't even need a gun.
Dude, we were.
That would actually make a pretty good guard dog.
They would. Yeah.
Maybe.
Train it, feed it to the local criminals once a week. I mean, it'd be fun.
I
Terrifying.
could see people trying to ride those things.
Is that? Oh man, I don't remember what my wife asked. What's that 4 foot tall bird that kind of looks like those? I don't
Oh,
remember.
emus, probably.
Emus, yeah.
They are mean.
They are mean. They have a nasty disposition.
Big chicken wing. You're right. Oh, I have been watching the dinosaur show with the kids. I have on Netflix. I don't know if anybody's got it, but yeah, it was Jurassic Park Camp Cretaceous, and the wife and I been pretty. We've been watching all that with the kids a lot. I have. It's good times. Who doesn't like dinosaurs?
I don't know anybody who doesn't like dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the shoe bill.
Oh, the shoe bill. My apologies. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys can come across that in survival situations,
And that's why you
Maybe
need.
you can, maybe you can break him in.
but hey, if you like this kind of content, just know besides the Convention of States, there's another convention taking place here soon, gentlemen, and I'm pretty stoked about that. Comes October, the spooky time of year. Some things are happening. So
Yeah, well, we're having a Paracon here in Caney, Kansas on the 24th. So anybody in the area, if you want to get on the SEK Bordertown Paranormal website or our Facebook page, you can pre-register. We're going to have lots of speakers, and if it keeps growing the way it is, it'll be a 2-day within the next year or two.
Yep. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend anybody to come out and check it out.
We have 15 people registered right now, and we've got quite a bit of time to go.
Yeah.
Just for,
That's for speakers, right?
no, that's for the public. We've got more than that for speakers.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got a couple dozen, and everybody we've talked to said, I don't care if the public shows up or not. We want to show up and network with our peeps. So
Yep.
I think it's going to be a fun time for everyone. We're going to
Yeah.
live stream that.
And it's indoors this year.
It is indoors, so
So
it can
definitely.
rain all at once.
you guys gonna
Last year was pretty tough in the rain.
live up to the Kansas name and barbecue anything while you're there?
I mean, we could.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, that'll bring people around. They
It
smell
will.
good wood and barbecue.
I could actually just wheel my grill up there without even loading it up. I can walk there with.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the government
We lost
stopped
him.
and they're like, he's onto
Talking about
something.
barbecue.
Gotta shut this
my
down.
grill.
We
freezing
lost
up,
you for a
Mark.
sec, Mark.
He's froze up again.
Yep.
You might-
I started talking about barbecues, and the government shut me down. I'm going to restart or refresh. the
Reset?
page. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
We'll be right back.
But I am excited for
Uh-oh. We lost
No,
Mark.
he'll be right back.
Oh, he'll
It's
be
just
back.
refreshing.
Oh, gotcha.
and then after that there's something very odd coming, isn't that right, Sonny?
And I'm back.
Agree.
That's right. We do have something odd coming up in October.
Odd October.
Speaking of, Just a real quick peek.
There's a teaser.
There's a teaser.
It's a name drop.
Oh man.
That'll be awesome.
It's going to be fun. Guys, I appreciate you guys jumping on, covering for me while I was gone. I really do. It's been a lot of fun. I don't know, Mark. You go ahead and close it out if you want, man. I don't know.
I've enjoyed having everybody on. I hope we can do it again real soon.
Anytime, guys. I had fun. It's a good time.
Good time. Wednesday show on the Fringe. We're going to be, hopefully, because we were going to talk prophecy and stuff like that Wednesday, but the research and stuff that's going on right now, I want to extend that out so I can get a lot deeper dive into it. We've stumbled on some pretty interesting things I think you guys are going to enjoy. So I think Wednesday we're trying to get Jess and Pam on.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to talk about the gin. So that's the plan. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. So, but Jen and Jess, or not Jen and Jess, Pam and Jess are always game to jump on with us. Gin and Juice, whatever.
Wouldn't that be the best name if they ever started their own YouTube?
Hell
Pam,
yeah,
Jen, and Jess. Oh man.
But so yeah, keep an eye out for Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. Central. Come over and join us in the chat. The chat group's been a lot of fun. It's been pretty active this evening, so we appreciate you guys hanging out and jumping on with us. I since we started this whole StreamYard thing, it's been so much fun getting on and interacting with everybody. I'm glad we
really have.
taken that step.
I love the comments and everybody who gets on and comments. There's always some good stuff.
We switch a route.
Sorry.
She said she just learned about octopuses having a beak the other day. I thought everybody knew about that.
Yeah.
Well, if you've ever been bit by one, you would know.
They'll bite you.
They will bite.
Hey, I could be wrong about this, but octopus, I don't know if it's all of them, but can they regrow limbs? Like they lose a limb, they're kind of like a lizard?
Yeah, they regenerate. So. They regenerate tentacles.
Man, they're so fascinating, right?
And they're
That's just
incredibly
crazy.
intelligent. They can open jars and manipulate locks and all sorts of things. So,
yeah, they're pretty smart animals. We talked about that the other day on talking about Antarctica, didn't we?
We did.
There's. Go ahead. Sorry.
There's a lot of scientists that believe that the octopus is from alien DNA because it is so different from anything else.
Yep.
They look alien.
Yeah, like I was saying, they're copper based. Instead, where most of the life on Earth is all iron based. Octopus are copper based.
Huh.
So.
You ever see how fast they can shipshape too? It's just ridiculous. And they'll copy other animals. Yeah. They'll make themselves look like poisonous snakes to keep things away, and they're very smart.
Jeanette, I'm glad you learned a lot. I appreciate you hanging out with us.
Oh yeah,
I do. It's been a lot of fun.
We got Monster Radio coming up Friday on the Chop Shop.
Sweet.
And
nice.
Tomorrow morning, the Chad Smith podcast. And
this is Chad Smith here with the boys. Chad Smith podcast. Yeah, it's Chad Smith and Spooky.
Willie, when you dropping the bits, man?
I know. Everybody's been asking about Big Willie's bits. I need to. So I'm moving. I'm in the process of moving right now. And but I promise you, them Big Willie's bits will be worth waiting for, and then I'll put them out there, and I'll be sharing that content. I'm thinking right around the same time. As soon as we're moved in the beginning of September, so I'd probably say second week of September, somewhere in there. I'm right in there.
Give us a shot, man. Give us a shot, and we'll
for sure.
we'll push it. So
yeah.
Yeah, Sonny, I mean, you already said Paranormal Chop Shop and the Chad Smith podcast. You guys go support these guys. They're a lot of fun, good shows. We hung out, or I hung out a little bit Friday night at the Chop Shop. All these guys are good content creators. Even everybody that's involved with this project or we're starting on or have great content. So go support them.
Even Ben and Joe, those guys are okay too. Even those guys,
all right.
I mean, they're okay.
Yeah,
they're all right.
UFO Garage guys are all right. Even that Big Willie
check
guy
those guys out.
pretty good.
Why haven't I gone back over there? Why haven't I done that? I've been doing this whole time. I miss sharing stories, guys. I miss bringing you creepy little tales that have been lost to time. Pulling from the cracks. We got to pull that stuff out of
dude,
cracks.
I'll hand you the keys.
Careful what
You
cracks
just
you
freaking
pull those
jump on.
Hey, that's the truth, Mark. Sometimes it's a good little fuzzle you get out of there, and sometimes it's just nasty. But we go and pull them out either way, and we talk about them. So. Oh, man.
Alrighty then.
On that note.
Guys, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys jumping on with us. We'll definitely have to do it again, get together or whatever. Folks, thanks again for listening. Do us a favor, check us out at Facebook group, What If Tomorrow Facebook group, obviously. What If Tomorrow Media is our website. Go over there, check us out. We've got all our affiliates over there. We've got Duke Cannon, we've got My Patriot Supply, EMP Shield. We're missing one. Conflicted the Game. Willie played with us here a month or so ago. We got on there and hung out, and it's a fun little game. Really makes you think about preparedness, things like that. Really puts you in a situation to where you have to think and make hard decisions. And I would recommend getting it, especially with the way times are going right now. Getting it, seeing what they have on there, and kind of think about these things, because it may come to pass in some aspect. I'm not saying it's going to be exact, but kind of see where you're at and make that decision now. That way, if you're presented with it, you already have an idea where you're going to go with it. With that being said, folks, thanks again for listening, and we will catch you next episode.
Good night.